you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Kerr weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates.
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5.
You got me. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah.
Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace
Saturday nights from 6 p.m, only on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
It's 11 o'clock. I'm Alex Armstrong, and this is Ben Leo Tonight Late Edition. On the front page of tomorrow's Telegraph, bombshell stuff. Remember when we were told how much the Chagos deal was going to cost?
Long-term figure of 3.4 billion in today's money.
3.4 billion, eh? Well, it's now been revealed that we're giving away the territory that will cost 10 times more than you were told. Almost £35 billion, according to the government's own estimates. I will bring you the latest on that bombshell story. And on the front page of The Express, could asylum seekers be moving to a street near you? Reform UK council chiefs claim that entire streets are being lined up to accommodate asylum seekers only. And an exclusive on the front page of tomorrow's Mirror. Shamed Prince Andrew believes it may no longer be safe for him to return to the US again because of the Epstein legal and political storm that inevitably awaits him. Lots of papers are covering that story.
Our goal is not to occupy Gaza. Our goal is to free Gaza, free it from Hamas terrorists.
Yeah, this is almost everywhere today. We'll also be joined by the director of Centre for American Security to discuss Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu defending his government's plan to take over Gaza City, and Donald Trump's push to force Vladimir Putin and Volodymyr Zelensky to meet. And joining me this evening, broadcaster Fahima Mohammed, political commentator Chloe Dobbs, and comedian Paul Cox. And why are farmers playing jazz to cows? Yeah, bombshell hour for you, because I'm telling you, the front pages are hot tonight. Shall we start off with that big news from The Telegraph and go through the rest of the papers from there? The Telegraph are reporting Starmer has hid £30 billion cost of Chagos surrender. Official figures reveal total cost is 10 times higher than the Prime Minister claimed. We will definitely be talking about that bombshell. The Eye. Let me see if I can find it first. There it is. The Eye. UK calls for halt to path of destruction as Netanyahu insists Gaza City plan will end the war. But will it? We'll talk about that. The Independent. That's another one I've got to find here. Hang on a second. Maybe I'll get you off of you, Chloe, actually. Have you got your Independent there for me? Just on your right there.
Yeah,
That's it. That's the one. Sorry, guys. I need to get my papers in order. Here we go. This is not in our name. It's time to end the war. That's the Independent right there. I mean, we'll be talking a lot more about this stuff because there's Palestine stuff everywhere today. The Metro. Mo Salah kicks off at Gaza death. Liverpool's Mo Salah takes on Euro soccer chiefs as Palestinian Pele is killed in Israeli airstrike. Shall we go to the Mail? 26,000 prisoners freed early by Labour. In just 7 months, hundreds jailed for more than 10 years are released. Interesting timing, this story, because, of course, we've just been talking today about the government's plans to deport thousands of foreign criminals. And let's have a look at the Express. We were talking about that just a moment ago. Reform councils, 12 reform authority councils are saying that whole streets could be offered for use by migrants. I know we're all going to want to talk about this one. Then The Sun. This one is quite an odd one. Silent Perks scandal. Dinghy migrants get dinghy days out. If there wasn't irony in that, and it's all paid by you, by the taxpayer, of course. If there's no irony in that, I don't know where there is. The Guardian. Another calamity. UN's warning as Netanyahu defends Gaza plan. And then The Mirror. Andrew won't visit the United States again. Point of no return. Prince terrified by America trips after Epstein Congress call. And then ending on the Times here. Drivers over 70 face eye test every 3 years. And, of course, they'll also be cutting back on your alcohol limits before you're allowed to hit the wheel after that too. So there's so much to dig into here. But, of course, I've got my great panel here tonight. Fahima Mohammed, political commentator Chloe Dobbs, comedian Paul Cox. Paul.
Hello.
Hello. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
I don't know where to start with all this.
It's all brilliant, isn't it? Let's get sucked into... I mean, this Chagos deal, by the way.
Bonkers.
3.5 billion to 35 billion.
It's quite big. It's quite a big change, isn't it?
It's a decimal point, but it's a hell of a decimal point, isn't it? I mean, he's either... I know this was something that was that has been politically around for some time, so it's almost impossible to blame Labour specifically for the idea of the Chagos Islands being handed back. What we will be able to do historically, I think, is blame Labour for overseeing probably the stupidest deal anyone's ever really done with another. The Mauritians must be loving this. The whole thing seems to be in their favour. We have to let them know whenever we're doing anything. Starmer is either like a professional liar or incredibly Premier League, Champions League level stupid. He has to be, or both.
Yeah.
He could be Champions League level lying and stupid combined, which, you know, brilliant.
What shocks me about this story, really, I mean, let's not forget, we're talking about Mauritius, they're all getting a tax break. They're getting an income tax break for 90% of
it's
their
a great place to live as well, isn't
it? It's a pretty good incentive to move out there, isn't it? But just to read a bit of this story, an official document produced by some department I've never heard of, actually, Government's Actuary Department, now shows the cost of the deal was first estimated at 10 times Sakir's figure. And the Telegraph are accusing him of misleading Parliament. This is big stuff, really big stuff. Chloe, what should we make of, is this just a bit of, is this superfluous? Are we just making this all, is this all just a bit too much? Are we being a bit crazy with this headline here? Or is this something people should really take seriously?
I mean, if what the Telegraph is saying is true and their figures are correct, and it was genuinely what the government said in their own documents that they hid from us, and Starmer knew about it, that it was actually 34.7 billion, all whilst he said that people who were claiming, MPs that were claiming the cost is 9 or 18 billion were massively overestimating the cost. He is a profuse liar. I mean, it's absolutely disgusting if that is the case, that we have a man running this country that is willing to lie through his teeth to Parliament and to the people of this country to push through a bonkers deal, which is, you know, as Paul has said, is like the most idiotic deal that anyone could have ever possibly made.
Yeah, Fahima, I think even if it's 3.4 billion, this is my opinion, 3.4 billion or 30 billion, it's a slap in the face to British people, particularly as we now know that Mauritians are getting an income tax cut for this. 90% of their population, while Brits are being told to batten down the hatches, your GDP, you're making the same amount of money you made 10 years ago, your inflation rate's through the roof, your food inflation's going up, if winter fuel allowance cut, I mean, it's a real slap in the face to British people up and down the country, in my opinion.
It is a slap, but only, like I said before, when people don't understand how to read statistics, and it wasn't actually hidden, it was actually there, but it's actually been inflated because it's been talking about it over many years. So that's why it's actually come up to so many, 30 billion, when actually the figure is still the same. There is obviously going to be an outrage and an uproar with this, but again, Britain, UK, has to fulfil its obligations, which it's trying to do, maybe not in the best deal, but it's doing it.
OK, Paul?
Lies, damn lies and statistics, someone once said, didn't they? And I think, Fahima, I know you're saying this in all good faith, but it is hidden in the sense that a lot of things are hidden in the context of politics, in order to push things through, it's expedient not to point out that it's so much larger than they originally say. And they say it in such a Weasley way that, of course, there's enough plausible deniability. So when we reach this point and we suddenly all realise what the real figure is, it's easily denied. But ultimately, it's against the backdrop of a Great Britain that's dying, and now we're handing over territory to essentially help the Mauritians. And God bless them. I don't, good on them. They are going to prosper greatly from this, and we are the people that are going to be paying the bill at a time when we have no money to pay the bills with.
Yeah. I think that my understanding from this article is that this information was not out there. Someone's had to do a freedom of information request to get this figure that was hidden from us. It's not the case that we all could have just Googled it but couldn't be bothered to.
Yeah. Listen, I think if this story is as accurate as it's being claimed here, and Dame Priti Patel, she's been looking at this too, Shadow Home Secretary. Sorry, not Shadow Home Secretary anymore. I don't know what role she's got in, but she was a previous Home Secretary. If this is true, and Starmer's government has hidden the cost of this mammoth £30 billion surrender deal to the Mauritians, there should be hell to pay for this government politically, because I tell you what, it is a scandal as it is that they're asking the rest of us to batten down our hatches while we give away all of our money. That's almost the entire tax bill that Rachel Reed's raised. Anyway, let's move on to The Sun, shall we? One that's going to perhaps enrage more of you at home tonight. I hope you can sleep after all of this. Asylum seeker perks scandal. Dinghy migrants are getting dinghy days out. Migrants arriving on small boats are being offered cut-price dinghy days out funded by taxpayers. They can use a discount card intended for low-earning families in Rotherham to bag the boat trips. Those living in migrant hotels are also subsidised for the gym, cinema, transport and even massages. Well, I mean, I don't think I need to read much more there for you to get the picture, Paul. The irony.
So we're now using dinghy as a noun, as a descriptive word. As dinghy migrants. That's just what we call them now.
Well, I think, yeah, maybe that's...
I mean, I know that's something I said flippantly as a comedian on this channel, but now it's like regular parlance. We're just calling these people dinghy migrants. I mean, they are illegal migrants. I know we don't need to have this discussion on this panel because we've had this discussion 1,000 times. They are illegal migrants, and it is another slap in the face. It doesn't matter. Again, it's all about the weasel words. How we describe things to the people, OK? And most times we describe things in an obtuse way to deliberately make sure that nobody fully understands what's going on. And what's going on here is that we are looking after these people for whatever reason, OK? Let's just park that for a minute. We're looking after these people who are not incumbent to the culture of this country and not incumbent to this country at all. And there are problems that we have inherent in this country that are just not being fixed. And I cannot understand why we would focus our efforts and money in this direction.
Yeah, I think this is, again, I mean, it's kind of like every headline, like slap in the face, slap in the face, slap in the face. British people are constantly being told, like, by this government, that you have to batten down the hatches, that working people who are really living on the breadline in this country cannot get a handout, that they're going to take away, some of your benefits and stuff like this. Meanwhile, discounts for people who have just arrived here, have never put in a penny to the coffers here, never contributed to our society in any way, shape or form, whether negatively or positively, are getting discounts on ridiculous things, but they'll also be using taxpayer money to get it. It's mad.
I know, and I think if you talk to most families who have got a few children, and you say how often can you afford to go to the cinema when the tickets are over 10 quid, 10, 15 quid each, they'd say, oh, we rarely can go. It's a slap in the face. But the other thing that's a big slap in the face about this story is that this is talking about migrants in Rotherham, and this really infuriates me that you have the Home Office opening migrant hotels in a town where the girls there have suffered enough abuse, are terrified to walk down the street because of the horrific grooming gangs issue there. And then they say, oh, let's just open a few migrant hotels as well with a bunch of men, unvetted, who have just turned up here on boats. That infuriates me. I had a mother contact me from Rotherham saying they'd opened up one right opposite a school. We hear it time and time again. It's an absolute slap in the face to parents and girls.
What infuriates me is that you are associating a whole bunch of people with people that have been criminalised, and there are a minority within a minority. So now you want to inflate it and inflame and be sort of the kind of person, like what everyone is doing, protesting against the migrants to say, this is what happened in one community, now all of them are the same. Is that what you're saying? Because that's exactly what I heard.
Absolutely
That is exactly what you just said, though.
I did not
say... Yes, you did. No, they're putting it in Rotherham. So they shouldn't put it there because one crime happened, and yes, it was horrific. No one agrees with it. But then you think that any other migrant that comes, they are exactly the same.
No.
That's exactly what you just said.
Will you let me answer so I can actually explain my position? I did not say that. And what I am saying is that people who come across on boats, the most common groups that they come from, the stats that we have suggest that there is a higher propensity for them to commit certain crimes like sexual assaults and rapes. That does not mean that every single one of them is going to do that thing. The vast majority are going to be absolutely. I have not said. I will make absolutely clear. I have not said, and I will never say that every single person that comes across on a boat is going to rape somebody. Absolutely not.
It's a problem. What does that even mean? At the end of the day, even those statistics, it is done over a certain amount of time. Statistics can be played with and manipulated, and it's done very clearly.
So hang on, ladies, I'm going to just stop there. Just because Paul is here as well.
I was not getting involved in that.
No, I know you were. You're very sensible.
I know when I'm best to stand back.
So let's just take it back a step. Right? Listen. I think that no matter where it's been the Tories or Labour, this problem just never seems to end, and we hear time and time again that whether or not it's right or wrong, but I think the reality people will be looking at when they're getting discounts for things while hard-working Brits are suffering in the country, that is going to be the message that penetrates into people's brains when they see this headline, isn't it?
Well, absolutely. I think in terms of the immigration issue, it's a huge issue. It's also a legal issue. So my personal belief is if they are illegal and therefore they're committing a crime in doing so, I don't for 1 minute say they shouldn't be fed and watered, but what I don't believe that they should get is any real perks. I think that what should happen, and I couldn't care where they come from, what they look like, what religion they're from, or anything of that nature. By entering the country illegally, they're committing a crime. So, therefore, in my opinion, they should be treated at least as criminal with potentially bad intents, because we know that they do chuck their passports over the side. We know that they want to hide their identity because it's beneficial to them. And to defend Chloe somewhat, if one person in a dinghy or 3 people in a hotel commit a rape, to me, I don't think it's entirely unfair to group them all in together and say this is a collective issue. Genuinely, I don't. And I'm a little bit worried you're going to do to me what you did to Chloe. But I genuinely believe that even if it's just one fella in the hotel, if they're not all stopping him doing it, let me tell you, if that was...
come on. You cannot blame one crime on everyone. That is absolutely ridiculous. Otherwise, if that's the case, then we should also do that for everyone here. And I should even talk about all the ones that look like you're probably your age as paedophiles. Come on, that's not fair either.
One second, because, listen, we are going to talk, maybe fortunately or unfortunately, we are going to be talking about this other story after the break, because this is another one that I think people are going to be generally quite unhappy about. I mean, getting discounts on dinghy days out is one thing, but I think many of you at home will be thinking, OK, the government have pledged to end the migrants in hotels, but what happens then? What happens next? Because what the Daily Express are reporting, and we're going to dig into this after the break, is that councils, 12 reform authorities, are warning the Home Office about areas made available to asylum seekers, and they're telling the whole country that councils, are saying whole streets will be offered to migrants. I think that is a big story we need to talk about, because if we're talking about integration, we're talking about these issues here, we need to talk and have a big discussion about it. And I want to hear what you think after the break. And there's loads more here to talk about, by the way, including Bridget Phillipson saying that she thinks white working class kids have been written off. We haven't got to that story yet, but we will. I will see you very shortly after the break.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Have you seen the president yet?
Morning, guys. No, not yet. We're just in the press room behind the scenes. I've got my Trump Turnberry coffee cup, though, just to prove to you that I really am here. We're waiting here basically until we get the nod to run out, hopefully to see Donald Trump and Keir Starmer together. These occasions, I'm realising, are a little bit sort of hurry up and wait. We think that the Prime Minister and the President might be meeting outdoors today. Yesterday, you might have seen Trump with Ursula von der Leyen in the amazing ballroom, in the grand ballroom here at Turnberry. Well, the weather is surprisingly nice for Scotland. The sun is out, it isn't raining. So there's a chance that we will get to talk to these two world leaders, but we won't be in the ballroom. We'll be outside, I think, on the golf course. We're just waiting to hear.
And what's the atmosphere like, Bev? Is there a lot of excitement?
I think amongst the press, they're all fairly used to this sort of thing. I mean, I still feel a little bit like a competition winner because I came on Air Force One, and I'm still really excited about the whole ordeal. But I think a lot of people here have done this sort of thing before. You know, we've had an influx this morning of the British press. So I'm with the international call who came over on Air Force One, and there are about 13 of us. But the British press are here as well today. They're all obviously keen to get their own questions into Starmer. It will be that setting where, you know, we just all go for it if we can and throw a question out in that direction. I got lucky on Friday when we were on the runway at Prestwick Airport, Glasgow Prestwick Airport, when we landed on Air Force One, and I asked him about immigration, and of course he gave us that line about the fact that Europe has to get its act together.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here.
I'm Michelle Duke, Britain's News Channel.
News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It is all kicking off tonight, isn't it? This is Ben Leo tonight, late fiery edition. We might as well call it the fiery edition. With me, Alex Armstrong. Let's bring you more of tomorrow's front pages, or at least some of the topics we're talking about. Listen, I want to get on to that story about those 12 reform authorities talking about the migrants that might be taking up whole streets up and down the country. But before we do that, because we've been quite heavy on that topic for a moment, let's just talk about something else, shall we? Just for a moment. White working class pupils are being written off as the front page of the Daily Telegraph by Bridget Phillipson. Bridget Phillipson. I have been on air a bit too long today. White working class pupils are being written off, says Bridget Phillipson. She is basically saying that society's writing them off, speaking ahead of A-level results day. It's a national disgrace that so many white working class pupils weren't able to get the grades needed for university. Paul, I guess
straight to me, the white working class.
The white working class lad, yeah. What do you make of all that, eh?
Well, it's true, isn't it? It's been true for a very long time. It's a disenfranchised group, the white working class, poor people, and particularly children. And I'm not sure that there's any other demographic that's been put in front of them. I mean, it's very easy for Emma's on the panel. I really want to have a go at her, but at the moment I can't squeeze in having a go at her on this particular subject, although I might try. But they are a very disenfranchised group, and I think it's been unpopular until this point to say that, because it's got the word white in it, and we don't like white people, do we?
No, well, we don't. We certainly are not allowed. I don't think the Overton window shifted, the window in which things are acceptable to talk about, and this has moved in the right direction, because you know the stats are pretty stark for young white working class kids. And I mean, you know, one of the things I have a problem with is that there's loads of DEI initiatives for kids of different races, different ethnicities, different skin colours, but they don't necessarily offer those same initiatives to white working class kids who are the most left behind in our society. And if you're talking about equality, you're talking about all this giving people the same leg up, well, actually, you're letting behind a vast majority of the population.
This statistic has been around for a very long time, like 15 years minimum, okay?
It has, yeah.
It's been a tidal wave coming, it's been ignored, and it continues to be ignored because it's not in some way fashionable to deal with.
Yeah.
If DEI is a big problem, okay? Multiculturalism is not really our strength. The idea that it's just not our strength, is it? You can't have sort of tolerance and diversity in the same equation. It's a simultaneous equation. Tolerance this side, diversity this side, they cancel each other out. And they do for very good reasons, because we all exist within different cultures, we all have different views, and to be tolerant of absolutely everything is not being tolerant of anything at all.
Yeah,
I think you diverted the conversation completely. I have an English white stepdad. Most of my family are married to
humble brag.
Okay, at the end of the day, I live in a predominantly white area, and there are people that come in, they're not advantaged. They just seem to have the kind of culture and values, maybe, that some of these English people do not have when it comes to education, when it comes to learning. I have come here in this country from South Africa when I was only 8 or 9, and I have got 2 degrees from a Russell League school. People that come into the schools in my area right now from Hong Kong and India hardly speaking English, and they top the grades.
Yeah,
so there is something there. It's not just about DEI.
No, that's interesting.
It's not just like, oh, they're excluded. That's just nonsense. Let's accept the fact that sometimes people are not investing and the cultures are not there with regards to education being the one that's the forefront.
So I'm not blaming DEI. DEI isn't tangible. You can't blame DEI. What I'm blaming is the efforts behind DEI, which defocus from what you're talking about is culture. Fair play to you. Absolutely fair play to you. You were brought up within a culture that probably encouraged education, and that's fantastic. And what's missing in the white working classes is that culture. I agree. We need to change that. We change that by investing in that and changing the narrative around these people. And we do so.
Don't say that we've been pushed forwards and they've been pushed behind.
But I haven't. I deliberately haven't. I deliberately haven't. You know I deliberately didn't as well.
But I guess there...
I don't know. I heard differently.
I guess...
you hear a lot of things differently.
I guess maybe just changing the angle on this is this a bit of a ploy here by Bridget Phillipson? Because, you know, Paul's right. These stats have been around for a really, really long time, right? So is this... You know, you're starting to see, perhaps, Keir Starmer's prime ministerial time unravelling and ending. Is there now a sort of a heat-up for who's going to be the working-class person to take over? Because you've got Angela Rayner, who's really waiting in the wings at this point, isn't she? And we're seeing Shabana Mahmood coming up with some strong law and order stuff. Now Bridget Phillipson's coming out. Are they all just trying to... You know, because what's the point of saying this now?
I mean... Look, I don't know exactly what the motive is behind this. Maybe this is trying to win votes after they've upset the, working people that they said they wouldn't raise taxes on, and we know what's going to happen in the autumn, right? But it might just be the fact that actually she's looked at the stats, and for years and years, maybe she's thought it is the case that people who are from, BAME backgrounds, for example, are the ones that are least privileged. But she's looking at the results and seeing actually white working class peoples are the ones that are suffering the most. These people genuinely need more help. And I saw this myself in my education. I grew up in Cornwall, very, very white area, school of 1,000 children, only 1 or 2 people of colour. But those white working class kids in that school were getting appalling results, no aspiration, really a lot of them just, horrific family circumstances. Those were not privileged people in the slightest. And so it infuriates me when I hear people saying, like, oh, if you're white, and particularly if you're a white male, that gives you inherent privilege. Couldn't be further from the truth. Well,
yeah, there you go. I think it will be really interesting to see if we hear more of these sort of little bites from potential leadership candidates. Let's put it that way, shall we? All right, next, we'll be live to the United States of America to talk about today's huge developments in the wars in Ukraine and Gaza. This has been Leo Tonight, late edition with me, Alex Armstrong. See you after the break.
Hello there, welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office, and a bit of a north-south split over the next 12 or so hours. Outbreaks of rain pushing across Northern Ireland and Scotland, but high pressure dominating across much of England and Wales. You can see those weather fronts moving in as we go through the next few hours, introducing outbreaks of rain across Northern Ireland and Scotland, pushing its way eastwards. Rain will be hit and miss. There'll be light and patchy in places, but there is the risk of a few heavier bursts. Generally elsewhere, it's largely dry with clear spells and mist and fog patches forming. The cloud and rain just starting to edge into northern parts of England by the end of the night. So a north-south split to start Monday morning. Best of the sunshine across central and southern parts of England and Wales, but a different picture across the northern half of the UK. Fairly cloudy across Scotland, outbreaks of rain. Though there could be a few glimmers of brightness here and there, and after a damp start for Northern Ireland, the sun should start to appear here too, and a mixed picture across northern England. A few mist and fog patches first thing across the rest of England and Wales, but they will soon clear, and then there'll be plenty of hazy sunshine as we go through the day. There is the risk of 1 or 2 heavy showers or thunderstorms starting to move up from the southwest as we move through the day, but most places will stay dry, and the rain across the north will become more confined to northern Scotland as we move into the afternoon. And feeling quite hot, particularly in the sunshine, temperatures reaching around 31 Celsius for many, the mid to high 20s. And then into Tuesday again, a lovely day to come, plenty of hazy sunshine. The risk of 1 or 2 thunderstorms in places in the heat of the day, but many places dry with sunny spells, and temperatures lifting further, reaching around 32 or 33 Celsius. Probably the peak in the heat, but staying very warm through the rest of the week. Temperatures well above average. See you soon.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Ben Leo Tonight with me, Alex Armstrong. Now, Vladimir Putin, Volodymyr Zelensky and Donald Trump will be forcing them all together in a meeting in Alaska, according to the US Vice President. But J.D. Vance dismissed European calls for Zelensky to attend Friday's planned Trump-Putin meeting in Alaska, saying it wouldn't be productive right now. Interesting stuff. Well, European leaders, including Sir Keir Starmer, have welcomed the push for peace, but insist Ukraine must be represented and that no land should be ceded to Russia. Well, I'm now joined by the director of the Centre for American Security at America First Policy Institute, Jacob Olador. Jacob, thank you so much for joining me. Quite a big story today from the Vice President there. Should Zelensky be part of this process?
Well, thank you so much for having me. Look, I think he's part of this process all along. I mean, the president needs no training, no education on how to make peace, how to broker peace. This is, of course, one of the most complex wars on the European continent, probably the biggest since World War II. And so I think the sequencing is important, and the different types of engagements with both Zelensky and Putin in the manner in which they've taken place. This will be the first in-person meeting between the president and Putin of his second term here. So I think I wouldn't read too much into who else is attending at this moment. It won't be the last conversation for sure.
Yeah, I mean, is there a point to be made here, Jacob, that actually this war technically is now really a war between America, with Ukraine being the proxy, and Russia? Because if America pulls support for Ukraine, the war's going to unravel pretty fast. So perhaps the Vice President has a point in saying that actually, look, Zelensky's got these really hard lines. He's saying he will not cede any land to Russia. Russia's going to say, well, of course you're going to cede some land. We've won it. I'm not going to want to walk away with egg on their face. So perhaps having the two of them together, he might be right. It might not be productive at all.
I think you're absolutely right. Look, there are real equities here for the United States, for the European nations, in the outcome of this war, in the aftermath, the day after the war concludes, whenever that is. And so I think it's important that all parties really take this very deliberately, that it isn't sort of a point here, a point there, that really there is thoughtfulness and cohesion in how this is taking place. As far as Ukraine, I mean, I think that's for Zelensky to determine on behalf of his own people what the end state is, what degree, if any, territorial concessions are made, and who controls different territory. It may not need to be either Russia or Ukraine. I mean, it could be some intermediary force in certain parts. So there's a lot that actually remains unknown that I think should be open for discussion at the moment.
Yes, of course, European leaders coming together there. Sir Keir Starmer, many across Europe. Of course, this coalition of the willing, maybe the coalition of the useless, I don't know. Are they really relevant? Does anyone really care what Sir Keir Starmer thinks, what Emmanuel Macron thinks, what anyone in the European Union or the European territories thinks?
Yeah, I think it's all, well, look, I mean, the French president has really shown himself to be obviously doing theatrics with the Palestinian statehood announcement. I mean, this is complete irrelevance, completely incidental to what actually is going on. And I think the real center of gravity today is in the East. You look at Poland, you look at all the Baltic states and their seriousness throughout. And so, but I think here is a moment for diplomacy to work, and we need to give it a chance.
OK, well, let's move on to another story here, Joe, because I want to get your thoughts. Because earlier today, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu defended his government's plan to take over Gaza City, claiming it was the best way to end the war. Let's just play this video briefly.
Our goal is not to occupy Gaza. Our goal is to free Gaza, free it from Hamas terrorists. The war can end tomorrow if Gaza, or rather if Hamas, lays down its arms and releases all the remaining hostages.
Yeah, a strong message there from Benjamin Netanyahu on that ongoing conflict in Israel, Gaza, of course. He's been met by condemnation again from European leaders, sort of throwing their 2 pence into the conversation. Do you think that, I mean, Trump, again, is seemingly to sort of taking a slightly softer stance the last few days, talking about aid getting into Gaza, maybe potentially taking a softer stance towards the Palestinian cause, or does it look like he'll be backing Netanyahu all the way?
Well, I don't think it's mutually exclusive. I think the fact is that aid has been getting in really consistently throughout. I mean, that's what the media is not completely reporting. There is obviously a humanitarian tragedy there, a plight. Of course, the cause is Hamas, and we should be clear on that. But the fact is also that 138 million meals have been delivered by the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, the U.S.-led effort here. That's about 1.5 million meals a day to Gazans. Of course, there are challenges. Of course, more could be brought in. So I think this is sort of what has to happen right now. It's a very difficult war, obviously. Israel has made a conscious decision, a very difficult one, that it will stop at nothing to bring all of its own home, whether living or not. And those are the objectives it has set for its campaign there. And so I think this is obviously entering a new phase, and part of it as well requires, for a peaceful life for the Gazan people, they need to be eradicated. They need to be free of the yoke of Hamas. And to do that, the whole military infrastructure, the tunnels into children's bedrooms, all of that needs to be dismantled. Otherwise, the problem will just come up again, and it'll be the Gazan people that are the first victims.
Yeah, Jacob, it seems to me, look, I'm a realist when it comes to these things, and I'm not saying that what I'm saying is right or wrong, but it seems to me that what Benjamin Netanyahu really is pushing for here is a one-state solution. And what I mean by that is that there's going to be a state, particularly maybe Gaza City, it has Palestinian people in it, but it's not particularly militarily given the power to defend itself or to have any military presence whatsoever. And in my opinion, that is a one-state solution. Do you think that's where we're headed to?
Well, I don't think that's accurate. I mean, I think Gaza is a very unique situation. You've had no governance there for 2 decades. You've had only Hamas, a parasite, sitting at the top. And so I think this will take time. There's still 40% of the population in Gaza that supports, to date, the October 7th attack. So this is a very deliberate process. I think calling for statehood today will mean that Iran has another proxy on its hands. And so we need to be very careful here and take it step by step in order that the Palestinians can ultimately have, enjoy the sovereignty that they can have,
And a final question for you, Jacob. What sort of role will Donald Trump play as this war seemingly is going to come to an end one way or another in the next few months, it looks like at least? What sort of role will Trump play? Is he going to play a more prominent role as the war sort of starts to roll down?
Well, the president has been consistent, not just there, but across different theaters of conflict, mediating and brokering historic peace agreements. We just saw with Azerbaijan and Armenia. I think he'll be doing the same in the Middle East. Nobody wants this war to end more than President Trump and Netanyahu. The question is how this ends, and in a manner that is for the best for both Israel as well as the Gazan people. And it'll happen, and it'll be a better future for it.
Jacob Olador, thank you so much for joining me. Director of the Centre of American Security at America First Policy Institute there. Thank you very much. Well, of course, we're moving on to the break, but more. My panel's going to be, they're still here. They're going to be back. I can feel the flames. We'll have loads more of tomorrow's papers, including news of a tax grab by Rachel Reeves. Oh, not more, please. It might be hitting churches, though. But if you're in search of some holiday sun, here's that weather forecast for you.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello. The European heatwave will continue over the next few days, so some very high temperatures for many places. Lots of blue skies and sunshine, though, including the Canary Islands and Madeira, but the heat is most intense across Iberia, so Portugal and inland parts of Spain seeing temperatures into the low to mid-40s Celsius. Hot also across Italy, the Balkans, Greece and Turkey. And it's going to stay hot over the next few days as well. Lots and lots of sunshine. Temperatures in the high 30s or low 40s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Ben Leo, late edition. Paul Coxley giving us his foreign policy commentary there. He has a really good breakdown in the break there.
In the
Paul
break.
for Prime Minister, everybody. He knows what he's doing. Like he's
one vote in the bag already. Do you know what? In 3 weeks, I was mistakenly called a councillor. Then a week ago, I was told I could be a minister, a member of Parliament, and now, after 3 weeks, Prime Minister.
There you go.
Clearly, you've left a good impression.
Well, yeah, you're working your way.
Even though you said in the break you've got absolutely no idea what to do about Gaza.
Don't tell her that, Chloe. I've got to lie, remember? I've got to lie.
Listen, if many Labour ministers can do it, I think you can too. Should we just rattle through some of your front pages quickly, just to do a quick refresh, and then we'll land on a story we've been waiting to talk about. The Telegraph here, leading on Starmer hiding 30 billion cost of Chagos surrender. This is going to infuriate people at home. The Eye are leading with UK calls to halt the path of destruction as Netanyahu insists Gaza City plan will end the war. The Independent, another similar theme here. This is not in our name. It's time to end the war. The Metro here. Mo Salah kicks off at Gaza death. Liverpool's Mo Salah takes on Euro soccer chiefs as Palestine Pele is killed in Israeli airstrike. The Mail. 26,000 prisoners freed early by Labour. And the Express, this is the one we're going to be coming back to here. Council claims whole streets offered for use by migrants. Trust me, my panel's raring to go on this. And is that all we got? We got through all of them. Is that all of them?
Let's make one up.
We've got the Sun. We've got the Sun. We've got the Sun. I've lost the Sun.
Let's make one up.
Let's make up. Should we make up a fake newspaper? The Sun, of course. Dinghy migrant gets dinghy days out. The Guardian. Another calamity. UN warnings as Netanyahu defends Gaza plan. And the Mirror. Point of no return. Prince Andrew terrified by America trips after Epstein Congress. Cool. Okie dokie then. Right. Shall we call it a day there? Have we got one more? We got the Times. Did we do the Times? I don't think we did the Times.
That's the end of the show, Alex, I think.
Bring it back up. Bring it back up. Right. Drivers over 70 face eye tests every 3 years. And, of course, they're going to bring down the amount of pints you can have before you're allowed to drive. So that's another one to talk about. But listen, I told you we'd talk about this, and I promise we're not going to let it escape because I know my panel's raring to go here. The Daily Express. Should we have a look at that headline again? 12 reform authorities warn the Home Office about areas made available to asylum seekers. Council claims whole streets are offered use for migrants only. That is a bombshell claim by 12 reform authorities there, Paul. Wow. Wow. I mean, listen, we talk about this a lot. The hotels are coming to an end. Labour's bragging about bringing the amount of hotel use down by illegal migrants. Now, Reform are warning, well, actually, they're coming to your street. Maybe whole streets of them.
The whole time you were talking to me, Farmer was staring at me with the deadliest look I have ever seen.
It's like it's your policy.
This is not my policy. Should we be giving over whole streets to migrants? I don't think we probably should. We're not thinking about this in the round. This is the trouble. I mean, all of these are isolated stories where we can all get our teeth stuck into from our own political perspectives and get angry and get happy and have a go at one another. It's all wonderful stuff and it makes good viewing. But we're not looking at this in the round because you can't just dump people, no matter what culture they're from, into one street. I mean, you can't do that. If you took someone from Southampton and put them in a Portsmouth street, there'd be a problem.
There would be a problem.
You have to. You really do have to think about what you're doing. And we have a problem, but we have to think about it in the round. And what I'm not seeing is any joined-up thinking here at all. I mean, it's good that I think it's personally that it's good that Reform are identifying this as an issue because we need to be speaking about it. But how are we going to solve it? Because they've got to go somewhere. Do you know, I put a post up on X this week saying, thanks to Suella Braverman, for stopping the migrant hotel. I'm sorry, Farmer. Stopping the migrant hotel in my hometown of Waterlooville. And nearly everybody got back to me and either said, that's great news, or where are they going to go now?
Yes, right, yes.
Where are they going to go now? They're going to go into these streets. We're just shifting the problem around. We either stop them coming or we overcome the problem.
Yeah, OK, Fahima, I can feel you raring to go. Go on.
Yeah.
Well, firstly, I think that title underlying the fact that reform councillors have actually mentioned this when we have had so many stories. For example, Sarah Pochin, who actually said her constituent on this particular road has had so much, problems because of refugees and asylum seekers. And when they went on the streets, no one complained. There was only one person that was living there that was actually an asylum seeker. And at the end of the day, I don't believe the kind of rhetoric and narrative from reform councillors. They can't even last a couple of weeks when they come in the first place.
You're not a fan?
And secondly,
No way.
at the end of the day, I don't believe whatever they're saying. She was caught out so many times for saying things which did not make sense, and it was not true.
Okay.
So I don't think there are roads of people that are coming in and taking up the entire streets. Let's see that in action, and then we can talk about it.
Yeah, so we'll go on the hypothetical of this. Let's just say it's happening, just for the sake. Yeah, come on. I think it's an interesting debate, and we've got to talk about this front page anyway. So let's just say it's true, and they are warning. They aren't saying it's happening. They are warning. So let's just be clear about that.
Inflammatory.
So I mean, Chloe, I think regardless of whether it's a street, a house, a hotel, whatever it is, I think I go back to this age-old thing, which is that there are people suffering in this country now who have paid into the country. There are pensioners suffering. There are people suffering, and they're just going to be thinking to themselves, why am I at the back of the queue? Why am I not given a house? Why am I being told I can't have more benefits because of X, Y, Z cutback in the budget? And then they see stuff like the dinghy stuff we saw there on the Sun. We've got people getting free homes. It feels like a slap in the face to British people. And I know I use that term a lot, but that's kind of the way it feels for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think it absolutely is. And people are absolutely sick and tired of seeing people who have turned up here on a dinghy, to use that term that's on the front of the Sun, being given better treatment than Brits. You've got people who, they set their alarm every single morning, they go out to work, they work a minimum wage job or close to minimum wage job to try and desperately pay their bills and pay their rent, which is always going up and up and up. And then they find out that you can turn up and you can get a house given to you. Then you find out that you've got councils offering landlords to, if you evict your tenants, we'll give you 5 years guaranteed rent, 20% above the market rate, we'll do the repairs and everything as well.
While rents are spiralling out of control in London and places like that.
That is a slap in the face. And when you genuinely create resentment and racism in society is if you treat a certain group better than everybody else.
Yes.
So if we keep on going like this, I don't think we're a racist country at the moment, but we could end up there, right?
Yeah,
I do think.
I mean, listen, I just think it's a real concern because there are people in the world who need our help. There are people in the world. We have been a very welcoming country for a very, very many years.
I think we're getting angry at the wrong people. At the end of the day, like Chloe mentioned, we're giving all these kind of problems that are happening when it comes to migrants, when it comes to hotels. There's billionaires that are actually giving these kind of, hotels. They are making money from it. The government's processing is really...
Guys, sorry. Chloe, stop. Because I have to move on. I'm going to get in a lot of trouble otherwise, all right? And I want them to bring me back onto this show at some point. You never know, right? Right, the government, moving on, has cut vital VAT relief on church repairs, forcing small towns and villages to spend tens of thousands on conservation projects. The VAT relief scheme fell victim to Chancellor Rachel Reeves' cost-cutting efforts in the spring. However, with its total annual allowance almost halved from 43 million to 23 million and a new spending cap of £25,000 introduced for individual claims. Well, I think this is another thing here, Paul, isn't it? Like we just come off of that story where people might be getting free stuff and there's benefit stuff going, dinghy migrants getting dinghy trips. I mean, look, we're now cutting back on everything else that's happening in the country, the cultural fabric of the country based on the church and the local areas. Now that they're suffering as well from Rachel Reeves' budget cuts. We've just talked about that Chagos deal, 34 billion there, the real cost, according to the Telegraph. What is going on?
Well, I mean, when it comes to churches, I'm a Christian. We are not the fastest growing religion in this country, unfortunately, and there is not the support for the churches that there once was. People look at churches as somewhere to go for a walk around on a Sunday afternoon out because they don't, let's go and have a look at the graveyard. That'll be fun. But they don't think about why they might go there on a Sunday morning. They never do.
Yeah.
If this is, they're not going to. It would be very easy, and I should on GB News say something like, "Oh, we wouldn't do this to the mosques." But that's because the mosques are really well supported. Churches are not well supported. So it's easy target.
Yeah, do you agree with that, Fema?
I think this country should be more Christian and there should be more Christians actually practicing.
You have changed. What's going on?
I've always said that. The problem is that people, if they were more Christian, they'd have more respect for everyone else and they'd actually follow, Jesus, and peace be upon him. And the fact that at the end of the day, all this rhetoric and horrible narratives and inflammation of propaganda wouldn't be there, because they would be practicing Christians, and they should be fighting for the churches. They should be fighting for laws which is more in line with Christianity, and that would be a lot better for the country.
OK, Chloe, give me it in 30 seconds.
Oh, no pressure. Look, I don't know exactly whether this is going to affect the churches that much. I haven't got all the detail there. But what I would say is that it feels deeply wrong to be making a cut there whilst you're spending insane amounts of money on, I mean, dingy days out for the migrants.
Yeah, I think that's the...
And whatnot, just one example of many, right? Why are they getting money whilst the churches are not? That's just messed up.
Yeah.
People should go to church.
When we look at all the headlines we've talked about today, I think there is a feeling in the country that there's lots of freebies going around, perhaps even for people in government, and there's nothing for you at home. And I think that is the problem we're in today, is that there's just not enough left for everybody at home. But listen, I want to thank all of you for watching. Fantastic panel tonight. It has been really fun. I don't know how I'm going to sleep tonight after this, let alone you all at home. But we'll be back again very soon. And if you're watching at 5 a.m, stay tuned for breakfast and have a good morning. Next up, it is your weather.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office, and a bit of a north-south split over the next 12 or so hours. Outbreaks of rain pushing across Northern Ireland and Scotland, but high pressure dominating across much of England and Wales. You can see those weather fronts moving in as we go through the next few hours, introducing outbreaks of rain across Northern Ireland and Scotland, pushing its way eastwards. Rain will be hit and miss. There'll be light and patchy in places, but there is the risk of a few heavier bursts. Generally elsewhere, it's largely dry with clear spells and mist and fog patches forming. The cloud and rain just starting to edge into northern parts of England by the end of the night. So a north-south split to start Monday morning. Best of the sunshine across central and southern parts of England and Wales, but a different picture across the northern half of the UK. Fairly cloudy across Scotland, outbreaks of rain. Though there could be a few glimmers of brightness here and there, and after a damp start for Northern Ireland, the sun should start to appear here too, and a mixed picture across northern England. A few mist and fog patches first thing across the rest of England and Wales, but they will soon clear, and then there'll be plenty of hazy sunshine as we go through the day. There is the risk of 1 or 2 heavy showers or thunderstorms starting to move up from the southwest as we move through the day, but most places will stay dry, and the rain across the north will become more confined to northern Scotland as we move into the afternoon. And feeling quite hot, particularly in the sunshine, temperatures reaching around 31 Celsius for many, the mid to high 20s. And then into Tuesday again, a lovely day to come, plenty of hazy sunshine. The risk of 1 or 2 thunderstorms in places in the heat of the day, but many places dry with sunny spells, and temperatures lifting further, reaching around 32 or 33 Celsius. Probably the peak in the heat, but staying very warm through the rest of the week. Temperatures well above average. See you soon.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
There's just 3 weeks to see how you can win your mortgage or rent paid for a whole year. That's a cash lump sum equivalent to 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, right up to a whopping £20,000. Plus, we'll add an extra £5,000 on top for good measure. Make sure you don't miss out as lines close on the 29th of August. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to